Good morning, everyone. It is 8 a.m. on Friday, 3 hours before our great training on Don't Quit. And I got some great people coming on today to talk about persistence and resilience and all the other great things in life that get us to where we want to be. And there it is, free training every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Team David Meltzer right there on time, ready to pin. Welcome, Alia. I see you there. Let's grab you real quick. Where did that go? I know I saw you. Here we go. We have a great track champion, Olympian, the unbelievable, persistent, resilient Alia. How are you?
Good morning, David. I'm good. Thank you.
How do you look so good so early in the morning? That's what I want to know.
I took a shower.
That's it. I could take a lot of showers and not that good. That's great. Anyway, I want to have you on because you and I had a chance to talk before, and today I'm doing a training on not quitting. And you know, Olympians have to have the ability to focus in on their capabilities. You have Coach Kevin behind you. You have mentorship, all the pieces in place for someone to be resilient and to be able to be persistent in what they're doing. A big dream with patience. What's the key to having the patience for the big dream?
Well, it depends how big is your dream. And may I just correct myself? I would rather use the term goal. Like, goal is so much better because goal makes you focus, and goal gives you more like plan and makes you want to execute. We have to have short-term goal, long-term goal, and the more goals we have, the more we persistent, and the more we want to do the work better, and the more we see results. It becomes like an addiction, basically.
But you know, a lot of people attach their emotions, their happiness, just to the goal. In talking with you and Coach Kevin, it seemed very obvious that you are able to attach your happiness, your motivation, and inspiration to the work, right? To the practice, to the dedication, still having your eye. And this is a conflict that so many people don't understand. How can you have a goal but stay focused on the little things every single day to get you to that goal?
Well, I would say some people say it's unfortunate. Some people say it's fortunate. When you have passion for something, your life becomes all about it. And it's a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice lifestyle. You got to sacrifice friends. You got to sacrifice diet. You got to sacrifice, well, not much of a sacrifice, I would call it, but it just, there's no sacrifice, basically. Everything we sacrifice, we get something back from it. So you're getting closer to your goals. You see your friends going out, you see friends, and these things don't last. What lasts eventually is what we achieve and what we persist to do and what we come to this earth to accomplish. It's just finding the purpose of being in this life. Everybody got a purpose. Some of us find it, some of us don't. And only lucky people will find their purpose and just pursue it and change their life around it in every way possible. So it's just the passion about it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I've always replaced the word sacrifice with investment in myself. So I see, you know, whether I'm sleeping in a car, staying up 48 hours to get something done, donating my time, my money, right, resources, I always consider that not as a sacrifice, as kind of an investment. And that investment is in myself so I can be stronger and better to help other people as well. Can you share with us a story? You know, a lot of people look up to you, they look up to Olympians, they have this idealistic, idolic vision of somebody when they achieve so much like yourself. Can you share a story, a personal story that may give people some insight on the struggle for yourself, like some story that shows that you know, when you were kind of down and out and you were ready to maybe throw in the towel? Is there a story you could share with us?
Yeah, I can share stories, and I'll share a video on the text for you to see. But one of the obstacles that I had, it just when I grew up in Saudi Arabia, we did not have the privilege like any other countries in the world to have sport when sport was completely banned. So I moved my way through Europe, then I moved my way through America. I lived in Colorado, lived in Hawaii, and got myself into sport, and I always felt I'm behind everybody else because everybody ahead of me, they've been doing it since they were kids. And I thought there was a lot to catch up, and this could go like two ways. It could either encourage me and motivate me to work better and just focus on myself, or it could demotivate me and say, oh, I'd never be there, I'm not like these girls. But when, like, so I believed in myself more, and I have really great friends, which I call family, that I make along the way because I'm always traveling. And the support that I get from people and believing in myself when I get to the point is like, okay, my competition is with myself. I have to compete with myself. I have to beat with myself, because if you keep competing with yourself with others, it will never end. It will never end, and you go nowhere. Just focus on ourselves and just keep going. And this is, I think this is the most thing that changes me from the inside, to be honest, along other stuff that we'll talk about it maybe one day.
Yeah. Well, besides even believing in yourself, it's not believing in others, you know, especially coming from Saudi Arabia with sport being banned, being a woman as well. You know, how did you find the courage not to believe in what other people were doing, laughing, scoffing, attacking you, you know, discouraging you? Even I'm sure family and friends, you know, were anti your decisions.
Yeah.
How did you separate yourself from all of that negativity?
I'm sure for someone, because I'm sure for someone like you, David, I'm sure you relate to, and I read about you and I read your book, and I'm sure you can relate, because people like you basically inspire us to be the people we wanted to be. I'm still in my way. I have not achieved anything. I'm still going. I achieved some stuff, but the passion and the love for wanting to achieve, you just know who you want to be. You were not born to be David, the David now. You just worked your way through it. And I was not born to be an athlete. I was born in Saudi Arabia. There's restrictions and there's rules, and for women especially. But to be honest, I was just always so fascinated about the outside world. And I have 10 siblings, by the way, and they all married. They all in Saudi Arabia, and I'm the only one is different and on the road, just chasing my goals. I went to Mount Everest, and I competed in marathons, and I just surfed for years and all over spot. And I think there's a fire and there is a drive inside the person. Once you find that fire and the passion, it just keep driving you, and it just keep heart power, belief, strength. It just, you either have it or you don't. It just, people say, how you stay motivated? Can you motivate? Nobody can motivate you. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah, and you have to stick to it. It's interesting though, because as you know, in my history, people laugh, scoff, and make fun of me and tell me what I can't do my entire life. And they end up applauding me every time, right?
Yeah.
Even the biggest haters, they end up cheering for you. And then they tell you, hey, I knew you could do it. And, you know, I have a really good memory, because that's what motivates me. I remember the people who laughed at me and said, oh, why are you doing this? Who do you think you are? You can't do this. You can't do that. And I know from Tom Brady to all the great athletes in the world, the entrepreneurs of the world that I'm blessed to be and surround myself with today, everyone had people around them, close to them, people that love them, that told them what they can't do or what they should do. And like you said, it comes from within. And I think that we can plant seeds, water seeds, and help people's trees grow of that inspiration and motivation, so that everyone somewhere within them has that light. They just have to find it for themselves. And you certainly have found it for yourself. And I didn't know you had 10 siblings. That outdoes my 5 siblings. So you are a competitive person. There's no way anyone born with 10 siblings can be a passive person. You have to be competitive.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mess with Alia, that's for sure. Any
No.
last piece of advice? Any last piece of advice for the weekend coming into Memorial Day weekend for anyone, or any insight you can give us?
Yes, just quick. I wanted to thank you first for, I had an opportunity, to be honest, read your book to learn more about you, but I discovered I was learning more about myself. And there is something that you mentioned in the book, that whatever you are, you will find the company to keep you who you are. Like basically, like when you give an example, like if you want to be selling some heels, you got to find the place where the short people live, and that's your market. And you can take that on everything in life. It's like whatever is your desire, whatever you want to be in life, you will find the people that will push you towards what you want to be. So anything in life, who you are, you'll find the people. So find your passion, find your people, and you'll be in the right path.
You're amazing. I should have you write my next book for me because I couldn't have said that better myself. Thank you so much. We're all behind you and appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. You have a great day.
You too, Alia.
Bye.
That's all cheer Alia on. She's going to hopefully got pushed back 1 year, but we'll see her in the Olympics. And, you know, I love the Miracle on Ice. We're going to have the Alia Miracle next. We'll do a whole big movie about that. The Underdogs. Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's get to a question real quick. Good morning, Alex. How are you? Hello, everyone. Let me know where you're coming in from. Today's training, 11 a.m., is on not quitting. And I'm going to go down and give you a different perspective of how people look upon quitting, how we quit, why we quit, and what the effect of quitting is in a different mindset, in a different meaning. Hopefully, you'll join me or watch the replay. When you're drawing the line and refocusing, where should that focus be? On your values, right? On what you want aligned with your values. Your focus should be on your personal, experiential, giving and receiving values, and what you want is determined by that. So you get clarity of what you want by balancing those values and then getting focused in on that. And that will bring the inspiration or confidence in order to effectuate, allow it to happen. It clears all the corrosion and interference between what already exists that you want. And instead of going to get it through all that muck, clear the muck and allow it to come to you. You feel me? It's like a pipeline. Don't quit. Perseverance is everything. Thank you so much. Let's see what next questions we have. Let me have it come down here. Give me a few more questions. Hi, Kate. Good morning. Boom, boom, boom. Absolutely. Let's see. I'm looking for some questions. You are the average of the 5 people you spend your time with and the amount of money that they make. Check it out. There also, I'm trying to see. Please give me some questions here. Here we go. Sorry. There I started piling in once we asked. What are some immediate steps you took during law school or right after law school? Well, first of all, to get to law school, the immediate step I took was to find the law school to meet my objective, right? I wanted to be rich, so I found the law school that had the highest paying jobs coming out of it, oil and gas litigators, maritime law. In law school, I kept my options open by working on my skills, my knowledge, and my desire. And so I had great mentorship. One of my professors who's passed away, Professor Yiannopoulos, better known as Yippee, I purposely went to Greece to study. Ironically, you know, I want to tell and share the story real quick. I went to Greece my first year in law school. I worked half the summer for my aunt, who's one of my mentors, who had an advertising and marketing company. And I worked half the summer, slept on her couch, and learned why and how she became so successful. Because she was up early, she was meditating, she was walking, and she was efficient, effective, and statistically successful. But most importantly, she was kind, and everyone loved her and did extraordinary multi-millions of dollars of business. Then I went to Greece, despite some of my family telling me it was back then $2,500 to go to Greece and study maritime law for the summer. And some of my family was all over me saying, "What are you doing? How can you go farther in debt?" But I stuck to my values and stayed clear, balanced, and focused on my values and what I wanted, and was willing to make that investment in myself because I had other relatives that told me, if I'm not going to invest in myself, what will I ever invest in? Anyway, that ended up being a great choice because Professor Yiannopoulos, Yippee, he was the one who introduced me into my first job that I took. Not a maritime oil and gas job. He didn't recommend me for the job in that space. He recommended me to work to sell legal research online because he thought that I had an unbelievable skill to sell. So those are the things that I focused in on: my skills, my knowledge, and my desire. Dave, how can I find a mentor to help guide me when there's no one around me that can really see being a good one? Find one, ask. I'll mentor you. I have free trainings every Friday to mentor you. I have a private coaching group if you like. Just reach out and I'll help you either myself or find someone determined upon someone that's sitting in the situation that you want to be in. Yeah, they will find you as you put your attention and intention into what you want. The coincidences of finding the mentorship, but you should have at least 3 mentors at all. Anyone wants my mentorship, come to training today, 11 a.m. Watch the replay if you can't make it. It's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Text me if you want mentorship. So it's 949-298-2905. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com, dmeltzer.com/training. Mentorship is easy to find. Let's get you to find someone in the situation that you want to be in. All right, everyone, it's here. Believe me, I would not be where I am without the mentorship and that help that people give. All right, now, Relentless One, where are you, my friend? Are you here? Look, we got, today's the Relentless Don't Quit Day. So how do I find my passion? You don't find your passion. You learn to love what you do. Listen to me, everyone. You don't find your passion. You learn to love what you do. So you do things, activity you get paid for, activity you don't get paid for, and then you learn to love what you do. And that becomes your passion. All right, Reggie's here. Talk about the Relentless One. Relentless Reg, he is here. Unbelievable.
David, how we doing?
My man, your timing could not be better because I'm doing a training on not quitting, and you are the man who is the icon of relentlessness. What's going on?
Man, I can't complain. I'm blessed. How you doing?
I'm blessed as well. I wanted to run a comparison real quick. You know, I know how hard and difficult it is to not only be a world-class athlete like yourself, but entrepreneur. And I know you have your apparel brand, which is so aligned with my life belief about your brand is relentless. Mine is the ferocious Buddha, and the ferocious Buddha, he's relentless too. In that way, what are the key ingredients to being relentless?
For me personally, I mean, honestly, I feel like it's able, you can put your own spin on it for anybody, you know, any walk of life. But for me personally, it's just facing adversity, you know what I mean, and facing through those storms that might come, even in a time like this during the pandemic, you know what I mean. Just continuing to stay relentless, to continuing to try to keep the main thing, and know that things get better over time. So that's how I look at it, and it's just always a constant reminder for me. And then it was a jingle with my name it being Reggie, so Relentless Reg, it kind of just went hand in hand. So sure.
Yeah, well, it goes hand in hand with the way you play and the way you work. And you know, a lot of people don't understand those two are completely combined, right? We don't get to play unless we work hard, right? And and you put it in. Is there a story that you can share? You know, obviously, when we come up with a brand and a business, there's a lot of passion and experience behind that. You know, I have my stories of relentlessness when, you know, everybody was down on me, or, you know, like the Rocky story when you just completely knocked out.
Yeah.
Do you have a story that you could share with us about when you were tested, about your own relentlessness?
Definitely. I would say two that comes off the bat rather quickly. First, being my freshman year at college, coming in, I was out of high school. I was like a 4-star recruit, quarterback. Stayed in my hometown and went to the University of Louisville. Competed for the starting position, and 3 games into the season, being 18 years old, my best friend, my dad, suddenly passed away. So that was a shock, you know what I mean? Just the day before, being with him, talking to him, he's in good health, and then literally that next morning, probably like 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting up, getting ready for an 8 a.m. class, and the local hospital calls me and asked my relationship to my father and told me I needed to get there ASAP. So it was a sudden change for that. That was more so off the field for me to become relentless in my pursuit and becoming a man at a young age and providing for my family at 18 and things like that. But something on the field, kind of that same around that same time, that following year, I had a pretty decent freshman year playing quarterback. Sophomore year was competing for the starting job again. Opening game, it was just one play that happened. You know, you could say this thing happened, or somebody could say one thing else happened. But make a long story short, end up getting taken out of the game. We were playing Auburn, and coach puts in my backup which is now the NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson. You know, just have to be relentless in that, time as well, and understanding what my journey was going to be, and really going to the drawing board and really just, trying to figure out where I was going to place myself in and everything. And I think that's where I kind of began to find out who relentless was within myself, and just continuing the relentless mindset. And it's been successful, and it's definitely paid off for sure.
That's amazing because I think about I lost my dad 2 years ago, almost to the day, and he was 80 years old. I talked. It was the day after Father's Day, so I talked to him on Father's Day. I left him, and I said, because he wasn't doing that well. I said, "Hey, man, are you doing all right?" He's like, got all pissed off because he's a badass, right? He's like, "I'll tell you when I'm ready to go, man." I'm like, "So are you ready to go?" He goes, "I'm not ready to go." I said, "All right." Next morning, I woke up, he was ready to go, meaning they called me, said he had passed. And I bring that up because it wasn't easy. Like, I still get choked up. I can't imagine it. I was, 50 years old. I can't imagine at 18 getting that phone call. And you got like Mike Moosberger. You got to check out that podcast, the story about his parents and his brother, like losing them all. And it reminds me of what my dad used to tell me, though. And it's so interesting. You use the exact same words. When I was little, we drive by somebody, that was homeless or having a hard time or on drugs, or in jail or on TV. And he looked at me and he said, "You're one play away." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, one bad decision, man. You are one play away from being that person. So you got to make sure you have the right mindset, that you're doing the right thing. You're working hard." All this stuff about was one play away. And, here we are. First time ever, the entire world was one play away. Right? It's just like when you were playing, the Lamar Jackson took over. It's what you're going to do now, right? You created an entire career on and off the field. What percentage of the people, right, would have quit and said, "This is unfair," right? There's all kinds of things that I've seen kids do and professionals do, and yet you had the wherewithal with all of those challenges. What are some of when that one play happens in order to effectuate taking advantage of the skills we do have, the capabilities that we're born with and we are developing, and of course, maintaining the desire to not quit?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's understanding just like the power of being in the present moment. Honestly, I think oftentimes with just the way society's made up in this day and age, is just a lot of distractions, a lot of noise, and just a lot of outside, things that can influence your thinking and your mindset. So kind of just limiting distractions, and trying to focus on what it is that you really want out of life, for sure. So I think that's what's helped me the most. My upbringing kind of allowed me to understand that as well. I went to a private all boys Catholic high school here in Louisville, Kentucky, named Trinity High School, and that really allowed me to focus more so on myself. You know what I mean? I didn't have a lot of distractions within school from females and things like that. So it was more so focusing on ball, definitely focusing on my schoolwork, tests and things like that. And once I started getting in that rhythm, I knew that was for me. It worked for me. So I never want to try to say that something that works for me is going to work for somebody else. You know what I mean? Because everybody's different. But what I can do is share what's helped me, so somebody can take my experience and make it even better.
Yeah, you definitely have learned at a young age to vote for what you want. I was more a chameleon, man. I wanted everybody, I bought things that I didn't need, and I bought it to impress people I didn't like. I wanted everybody to love me. I voted for what they wanted, and then got pissed off and resentful when I got what they wanted for me.
Yeah.
And every time I voted for what I wanted for myself and I worked for it and I got it, that's where the truth came, where my potential came, and I continued to expand and accelerate. On the entrepreneurial side, you've launched your brand, got this great apparel brand. Where can people find the Relentless brand right now?
Actually, it's still in the works. So actually, with talking with you, I'm sure more people are going to be interested in finding more information about it. But we're at the drawing board right now. We got sketches coming across the table rather quickly, fabrics and things like that. So I'm really taking my time on it. Honestly, it's something that you know, I guess I've been thinking about since I was a little kid. I've just always been very artistic. My first dream job I wanted to be when I was a little kid was an architect. So yeah, like me being a professional athlete was definitely not is high on my list, but I definitely enjoy my occupation right now. So, but yeah, the apparel brand, it'll definitely be up soon on our website. My website, reggiebonifon.com. And definitely be tuned in. I'll definitely be sending one out your way when they're on the pop.
Yeah, I'll be the first to wear it, man. If you need any business advice, you just reach out to me anytime you want, my friend. Uh,
Definitely.
don't feel bad, because my first choice when I was little was to be you. Instead, I ended up me. It's really weird,
Hey,
but
hey, looks like it worked out well for you.
it worked out well for both of us, my friend. Thank you so much. Let's do this again. You need any
Oh,
help, all you got to do is reach out. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. Take care.
Thanks, Reggie. You too. Have a great weekend.
You too.
The relentless one, Reggie Bonifon. That's my man. Everybody has their story, but you can see the ones that are at the top of the story. People ask what's behind me. It says money does not buy love or happiness. There it is. Money does not buy happiness, but it allows you to shop. And if you shop for the right things, you'll be happy. It's that simple. You got to align it with your values. Take inventory of your values every day. I know Jakey Bakey's on that in the house with fire and football, two of my favorite F's. Not too bad. Could you give some advice as to how to find a mentor? Just reach out to me. Be more than happy to help you. But the best piece of advice, you got to be more interested than interesting. Find people that sit in the situation that you want. You got to know what you want. So if you want to learn the relationship with money, find someone who has the relationship with money that you want. You want to find expertise in multi-unit properties in South Dakota, then find an expert of multi-unit properties in South Dakota. It's that easy. And ask how you can be of service or value of that, people. And then ask, do you know anybody that can help me? Some will be sponsors and they'll find someone that can help you, or some will be power sponsors. They can help you and find someone that can help you. Let's get into the flow. Let's speed things up. Let's help each other. Let's mentor each other. You should be a mentor and a mentee at all time in your life of at least 3 people. You got that? Awesome. Let's see here. Working on what's going on. Working. Whoops. Let's see who's here next. One more question. Give me your questions, everyone. I know we got Friday training, 11 a.m. We'll be going over a lot of questions, going over a different perspective and view on quitting and how that all occurs and what effects it has. How can someone strengthen their intuition? Intuition is practice, right? So an intuit is someone that's using a sense of awareness. And so raising your frequency, your vibration is the best way to practice your intuition. I'll give you a little practice that I think it was Bob Proctor taught me about intuition. So what I do, and I can't do it anymore because I don't go on airplanes right now, but I stare at the back of the seat of the person in front of me when I'm on an airplane. Or you could do it in any event or any place. Do it in your house. Stare at someone and watch them start to rustle, right? Watch them start to move. They can feel you. It's intuition. And then see if you can get them to turn around and feel you so much that they turn around and look through the crack of the airplane. That's how I practice intuition, but it's really an awareness, right? It's a vibration. You can meditate. You can find your highest frequency in the morning. Get a baseline in your life so that you can become more and more aware of what we do and how it affects us. Make a practice so that you know how your intuition is doing statistically and see, oh, wow, my intuition was right. Remember, time is a man-made construct. So you may have intuition and it doesn't seem like it was right, but 10 years from now, it may be. So very complex, but you can practice it, stare at people that aren't looking at you and get them to turn around. Do you use an alter ego? Absolutely, all the time, especially when I'm cold calling, feeling insecure. An alter ego is when I pretend like I'm someone else or I carry energy of someone else so that my own ego, the one that has a history, a quantum history of not only 4 generations from my great-grandparents, grandparents, parents to me, but it could be multi-lifetimes that I don't even understand. But I know that I have an insecurity that, oh, they're not going to say yes. Oh, well, I just use an alter ego. And, you know, if I'm going to go up to bat, I'm putting a Tony Gwynn baseball card in my back pocket and using that alter ego. When I'm cold calling, I may use someone else's name because I don't want to be rejected, but let Steve be rejected instead of me. There's so many different tricks. There's a book called The Alter Ego Effect. I posted it up there as well. So it's a great book to use to separate yourself from your own insecurity, your own projection. It actually is a unifying technique that unifies us together, because if we're connected to everything and everyone, then the alter ego that is more positive and more productive for us is just us anyway, since we're all connected. Money won't change how you feel. They will only take our insecurities out and show who you are. That is why it's important to work on yourself and improve yourself daily and be humble. Yeah, absolutely. Money's an important part, though, of teaching our humility and knowing that we live at this vibration. Money is a currency. What's a currency? It's an object of energy that we put into the flow to attract what we want. So you need to know that money is the currency of this vibration, and that we have great power with it. That I focus on receiving so I can give, not giving to receive. And it's a big alteration in my life. It's a big transition in my life, and has allowed us to do that. All right, it's 8:30. I know we have one more great guest coming on here, and Jakey Bakey, help me out. Find so many people on here. Trying to find who that is as we work through this here now. Any other questions? Whoops, I have now completely messed up my game here. Let's see here. Do you recommend using a vision board? Absolutely. I have a complex vision board because it just doesn't have the things that I want. It has the reason I want it, the impact it's going to have, and the capabilities that I have in order to effectuate it. Oh, there he is. All right. I didn't see Dwayne in here. Oh, no, he is. Perfect. All right. One more special guest. It is the non-quitting day. It's the resilience day. We've had Alia, we've had Reggie, and here is D. What's going on?
I'm chilling, man. How are you?
I'm chilling as well. Where are you at? That looks beautiful outside.
I am in Westchester, New York. I literally just left the city to come see my parents for a bit. So, suburban life.
Do you feel a release coming outside the city? I mean, it's the number one thing I miss right now is Manhattan. I just have to tell you, my wife asked me all the places in the world, everything that you're doing. Do you miss anything? Manhattan's the only thing I miss.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been there for the last, since this whole thing started, and I want to miss it and enjoy it, but it's super hard to enjoy. It's hard to really go outside and walk around and do the things you would normally want to do. So I miss what it used to be. Right now, it's way easier being here in the suburbs and just being able to walk outside and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different feeling. I'm told my wife it's the first time I miss Manhattan, but I'm glad I'm not there. It's and to me that'll be one of the litmus tests when we have an office in New York. When I can get to New York and have some sort of productivity and accessibility with the people and the food and the culture that I love. Innately, I'm a Manhattan person. People think I'm a New York Jew. When I'm in California, nobody's like, oh, are you from here? No, everyone's like, are you from New York? Are you from New York? Everyone thinks I'm from New York. I have a quantum New Yorker in me. I must have been past lives because I love it there. What, in mindset for you, Dwayne, being in the city, right? And being young and now, looking at things, what's your biggest fear moving forward as we're kind of in this halftime of the game with no idea of what that second half's going to look like or how many overtimes we're going to have to play?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because I'm in the media industry and I'm also in the, gaming, esports, and sports industry, my big thing is being located in New York is New York no longer being a media hub. That's kind of a fear of mine that, like I work for Slam, our offices are closed right now. They'll be closed probably for a while, I think. I'm just scared that another city's gonna become a media hub and I'll have to move there, even though I love New York. All these big buildings and everything, I feel like for the next few months, the city's about to be empty.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because I'm involved, obviously, with Overactive Media, and you being one of the superstars in the esports space, one of the young icons, you're going to be forming the future of sports. Yeah. Because I have no doubt in my mind about electronic sports and what they're going to do. comparatively to the traditional four, right? Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey.
Mm.
Not only does esports encompass all the major sports, it creates multi visions and verticals of sports that we can't even comprehend. At 52 years old, a guy who's run one of the most notable sports agencies, run one of the most notable sports marketing companies, has media experience in movies, TV, all of these traditional things, radio, print, TV, and have dabbled, you know, with my boys at Vayner into the digital side and invested with Marcus Colston and Meta in the esports. I have to rely on you. Right? I know one rule about getting old. I don't know what I don't know. And I would prefer to, you know, see someone that, you know, how long have you been playing, you know, just games in general? How long since you were?
Like 6, 7. I started playing, I played professionally when I turned 15, played professional Call of Duty for about 3 years. Went off to college, was like, all right, you know, I'll come back to this at a later time. And video games has always been in my life. Video games and sports, it's like a perfect, two perfect hobbies to me.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been a professional for almost 10 years, right? And I think it's important not only for me to say, hey, I don't know what I don't know, but also to be a sounding board or a mentor of just traditional business, right? Because you look at those big buildings, and you look at financing and structuring and all of these things that I've been doing for 30 some years. Those human nature doesn't change with that, and I think the more that people like you and I can get together and collaborate, the more money and the more people we can help. Because I think it can't just be, you know, it's like the TikTok people. You just can't think that TikTok's going to run the media world, right? And so if you're, you know, a 15-year-old dancing and having 3 million viewers, that doesn't run anything. But if you combine what's going on there with somebody that maybe had run AOL or had run the New York Times, you know, or run the world's first smartphone, or traditional business, we need to collaborate together to figure out how are we going to quickly, you know, transfer everything into electronic. I had a conversation with an executive coaching client of mine today, and that was the whole conversation. He said, so what do you see and where are we going? I said, for those people that don't understand what digital means and electronic means, you better. Because it doesn't matter. The biggest and most traditional businesses better figure it out right now, because we have now accelerated what was going to happen over a decade or two into 10 weeks. And you're on the forefront of understanding how that works, because you have one thing: situational knowledge at the highest level. You're a champion, an icon, and you have the experience of 10 years. The same way I have 35 years of dummy tax. You paid a lot of dummy tax to get to where you are, and we need to leverage that. How do you find, or how receptive do you find, you know, with your company, the more traditional business people, you know, being more acclimated on the sponsorship, the advertising, the financial structuring, the funding side of things? Because financial institutions, educational institutions, how open are they now compared to where they were even just a year ago?
I mean, I'd like to say at least like 10 times more open. What's interesting about it, like, I came in being more of a content person, and I never even thought along the way, like, we do all these, you know, Call of Duty tournaments and gaming streams, everything like that, and how sponsors want to get involved, having to, you know, sit on these calls and everything, because they're like, oh wait, like, the sales team's not gonna know how to sell like a video game, like, and all these, like, these types of streams and like out of social packages and stuff like that for gaming. So I've had to kind of learn like the ins and out of all that, as far as like, you know, what's an appropriate number for this type of stuff? What's how do I, and I don't even say this meanly, but like, how do I dumb it down to explain to a brand like, yeah, you're going to be getting like a Twitch stream promising this stuff. But like our Slams have done a great job just kind of like learning the process and working with me, you know, so that we could just all benefit from it, especially in the world we're living now. Since the whole pandemic started, our business as far as gaming has gone up like tenfold for sure. Like, all these athletes reaching out to work with us, get their stream set up, do original content, get involved in our Call of Duty tournament. But yeah, no, it's really cool too, just being able to work with people who have been in the industry, not gaming, but just, you know, sports marketing, business, and like, they help me learn. Because like I said, like, I didn't come in for like on the business side of things, I came on the content. So having to learn all the business aspects of stuff is making me kind of like a Swiss Army knife, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a transcoder as well, and I think it's frequency and vibration. I understand the feeling of dumbing it down. It's just a lower frequency, so that more people. A lower frequency has a wider spectrum, right? So
Yes.
if we can dummy down or lower the frequency of what we've learned over such a high frequency occurs from consistent behavior and repetition,
Yeah.
and you've created such a high frequency or understanding or awareness of what you know, and so practicing that transcoding so that we can reach a bigger audience, so that we can bring them along to a higher vibration is so important. I got a shout out for you. Trent Shelton's on here. He probably wants to say hi. Miles, my 10-year-old, he's going crazy on here, right? They're all say hi. He's like, get me on there. But we have to collide our worlds, and part of the reason I wanted to have you on there is to share that frequency and to put it out there with you, Dwayne, that I am 100% want to work with you as well and bring more content, the traditional content, to a world that they don't really know. And if we have to dummy it down together, I'd love to be a part of that. And you're an incredible brand yourself, which is the last question I have is, beyond the frequency side of creating a platform, you yourself are a brand. What's the best tip today for people who are building their brand? Where should or what should they be focused in on?
Starters, just do only, for the starters at least, do only what you love, like only what you enjoy. So if you're going to do this and your hope is to build yourself as a brand, make sure you're doing stuff that you really can have fun with. Because at the end of the day, you're taking something you love and it also is turning into work. Just because you love it doesn't mean it won't annoy you sometimes. So you just have to kind of stay consistent with it and do what you like. If you find it entertaining, probably other people will too. Try out different things. That's really my biggest advice. Some days too, you won't want to play video games. All right, find another video game related thing to do that makes it cool. So that's my biggest advice.
Yeah, you got to not only find your frequency, but always learn to love what you're doing, even if you don't love it every day. I learned that as running a big sports agency. Everybody's jealous of the celebrities, athletes, and entertainers, and even me and Lee Steinberg. And yet we live a normal life where, hey, if you eat prime rib every day and you're a meat eater, prime rib is going to get old. You can love prime rib, but it's going to get old, right? So you got to be able to find and learn to love what you do and be able to have that mindset. And you certainly do at such a young age, and you've been successful at everything you've done. Really looking forward to getting together on the business side with you, Dwayne. I appreciate you coming on and helping people find their frequency, helping lower that transcoding of the vibration so more people can get involved in what I think is going to be the biggest business we have here in the U.S. sports-wise. And I appreciate everything you do. Have a wonderful weekend with your family out in Westchester.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, Dwayne Jackson, you are the man. Thank you so much for joining me. Dwayne Universe, my boy, check him out if you haven't already. The world is changing. I'm going to have to jump, get on an interview with the great Jeffrey Hazlitt. And I want to make sure everyone knows training 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Please, everybody, come join me today. It's free. If you don't get it, get the replay, get the free guide. It's going to be on a different perspective of quitting and why quitting happens and what happens if you quit and why and how we can be consistent and persistent in the pursuit of our relentless potential. Anyway, 949-298-2905 to text me and join that community. Email me or look at dmeltzer.com/training. David@dmeltzer.com. I'm really looking forward to it, man. Fridays are my fun days. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all at 11. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.